From the real estate, interior design, and design and build experts at the Penzo Group comes a podcast that covers all things home. For our team, a home is so much more than the sum of its four walls. It goes beyond. A home is our sanctuary, a place to create memories, build routines, and shape our futures. Through a series of captivating conversations with guests who are industry experts in their fields, we discuss their lives, passions, and their most personal and intimate spaces, their homes. Welcome to Beyond Four Walls, where we explore the soul of living spaces and celebrate the essence of what makes a house a true home. Okay, so welcome to another episode of Beyond Four Walls with the Penzo Group. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Natalie Marshall and Ali Ushak, who are business partners. Lots of alignment between us. Us having three businesses and being a family business. You guys also have three businesses, which is truly amazing. Our company, we're sitting in your house, and Homekin worked with you guys on this house, which was such a pleasure. So I just want to, if you guys can introduce yourselves and just tell us a bit about what you do in your businesses.
For sure. So, hi, I'm Natalie. So I'm the founder of Kip Sleepwear. That's the business I'm most associated to. But then over the years, very much a partner with Ali in what he'll explain as ABE Automotive and our newest company, ProShield.
I'm Ali, and I currently run ABE Automotive. My wife is the boss, but I'm the day-to-day manager. And then we launched ProShield, which we'll get into a little bit later.
And how did you guys meet? Like, you worked together, but I want to hear like how you met and how the love story started.
Yeah.
Do you want like the romantic version?
Yeah.
Or do you want,
I don't know if there was one when you're 17.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, wow. You were 17?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I slid into her DMs.
By DMs at that time, he meant like Facebook.
Yeah.
We were both in the same program at McMaster. We were in the business school program, and we were both in the same orientation, same year, and we connected at orientation. And it was one of those things. I don't know his POV, but mine was like, okay, you're going to university. Is now the time you really get into a serious relationship? It's more time to like be independent and figure yourself out. So I was very passive about this being anything serious. And here we are like 16, 17 years later.
Wow.
So it was from when we were 17. It's funny too, from the beginning, like we had very inverse personalities and inverse skill sets. Like even in business school, like I was very much a marketing, HR, operations brain. And I feel like,
what did I do? What's left?
Finance.
Yeah, no, finance. I always wanted. I'm like I really want to like build and do all these crazy things, but then like obviously there's a sensible requirement and a sensible mind to all that, and that's where kind of Natalie still to this day helps a ton with everything.
And I also work with my husband.
Yeah.
So how is that? Like, I mean, it sounds like you guys are very supportive of one another in your businesses. You more spearhead Kip Sleepwear, but support Ali in the other businesses. So do you find it comforting? How is it working with each other day to day?
There was as the businesses started to really scale, like I would say 6-7 years ago when I was really starting Kip and it was getting off the ground and ABE was a sizable company. There was honestly a huge learning curve because there was more nuance to what we did. And I would say that was challenging and probably challenging for a team. But now I feel like we're in a really good space. Like the areas I was mentioning that we're inversely good at, we generally speaking, like really own our lanes. So I feel super supportive because not only is it like my colleague who's helping me, but it's my husband. So I know he always has my back.
Yeah, it's interesting because like sometimes we'll talk about work when we don't want to talk about work. And then we'll kind of like one of us will be like, okay, right now is not the time. Let's just like enjoy this. It takes a lot of like the unknowns away in a good way, right? Because like I know that she has my best interest. I have her best interest. The funny part is when our staff gets caught in crossfire, they'll just sit there quietly and not say anything. And oftentimes Natalie will just lead the way, and then by the end of it we'll say
And does
sorry
your
about that.
staff work across all the brands? Like, because I know with our company, like our marketing director works across all the brands, and that's really beneficial for us.
Yeah, we've integrated that a ton more. Before we were more siloed, but as we've needed to add quote unquote like front of house, like more office work as opposed to doing work, we've noticed, like I'm sure you're the same, like there's so many mutual learnings across. It doesn't matter if it's different industries. There's if you're doing something in social, it can be applied to another business. And I find like we have a really great team who are go-getters like ourselves. So I find like the talent that we try and find, they like that they could dabble in automotive, they can dabble in fashion. It's really unique that way for sure.
Yeah, and it's ultimately about lifestyle and servicing, clients. How did you get into the industry? Like, did you work in fashion, or what drew you to?
Yeah, I graduated school knowing that fashion was an industry like I really, really wanted to pursue, but it is one that when you go to business school, there's not a million fashion companies recruiting you. It's not really advertised, especially at that time. So I started my career actually at Hudson's Bay. It was like an e-commerce specialist, glamorized data entry, put it in a better way. But it was like the only job that I could
also worked at the Bay.
Oh,
so yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was at a time when the e-commerce team as a whole was 30 people. And when I left 3 years later, it was like 300 people, and we had acquired Saks, and it was all this learning. And to this day, I'm so thankful that I did take a position that ultimately wasn't as cool as my friends were taking, didn't pay as much, but it was like a huge learning opportunity. And it was there that I was like, okay, there's a rise of direct-to-consumer brands. I have an itch to do something. I was looking in the fashion space. There wasn't a ton of companies you can really work for in Canada that I found cool and interesting. And I saw a white space in sleepwear that someone wasn't filling. So I was kind of young and naive and was like, let's do this. And Ali had already had ABE Automotive. So I definitely had like the check mark to believe that, okay, we can build things, we can do it. So again, it was kind of blind trust that I can make it work.
Yeah, and you've built such a beautiful brand. I mean, we all love your PJs.
Thank
so
you.
You've done such a tremendous job with it. And what about you, Ali? Were you always interested in automotive? And
I mean, Autobath was like kind of like a university project. That's what it was called, like originally.
Okay.
So like we always had that running in the background. But out of school, I went to go work for a developer. I loved it. Like it was amazing. But I also kind of realized at some point, I'm not sure if I can work for someone else. I wasn't the best employee. And he actually, I got fired from that position, but then I got rehired with a signing bonus. I think it was 2 or 3 months after that. So I at a certain point, I had to kind of make a decision of, do I want to be an entrepreneur or do I not want to be an entrepreneur? And I had that itch, and it's been ongoing. And to go back to the whole team thing, like we hire today based on not the 3 businesses we're running, but the businesses we might have in the future and how those players kind of act in that. So it's interesting.
And you have another business, ProShield, right?
Yeah. So we have ProShield. So we kind of took all of the knowledge and the experience we had in the plastics business. Our family's been in the business for a long time. And we created this product that essentially can protect natural stone.
I have it on every surface of my house.
Yeah. I think you're one of our first customers.
And I love
You're one of the OGs.
I love it. With 3 insane kids. It's like perfect.
Yeah. So we're in the process now of kind of licensing installers across the US and then hopefully across the globe.
Amazing.
It's early days.
It's funny though. Like as you mentioned, we're like telling the stories of the 3 businesses. ABE was an Autobath was started literally knocking on doors, being like university students, begging them for us to clean their cars for like what was $115, I think.
Yeah.
Kip was me like begging people to like make 100 pajamas for me because they're like, who is this young girl trying to create this pajama company? But it's ProShield is the first business we've experienced where we kind of put it out in the universe, and and it evolved because there was such a demand and we were kind of early to the market. So it's been nice. Maybe it's the fruits of our labor of like learning entrepreneurship over the years, but we have so much demand that it forced us to really focus on it, which is great.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, like, you guys have such a strong entrepreneurial hustle, both of you. Is that what attracts you to one another? Because like you're both so driven.
I mean, if you listen to the podcast, that's fine. If you watch the video, you'll see one of the reasons why. But yeah, no, I think so. I think when you have that connection on a day-to-day basis, and like your support system is obviously always supposed to be like your significant other, but when like you've been through a lot, like when we first bought our first condo, I think you left your job to do Kip full time. I got fired from my job. So when you've been through that,
yeah,
and like you come out the other side, you're like, really, like nothing is gonna kind of like break us apart.
Yeah.
That was what year you launched Kip?
2017. Yeah.
And that, well, we share that both of our moms had breast cancer, and that was around the same time.
Yeah. So
right?
when I was in the product developments trying to get the product made, I was, again, doing that hustling. I was a one-woman show at that time, obviously. And my mom was getting treatment. So every week, and Ali talk about people standing by your side. At the time I didn't drive. He would drive me every week to my parents' house so I could be there for my mom and then come back. And it's funny because the business is around women investing in themselves, investing in rest. So, I mean, I don't think I consciously thought of it then, but it was extra motivation or extra kind of serendipitous. Like, not that I wanted that to happen, but that it gave meaning to what you're doing, what I was doing. Yeah. And I wouldn't have been able to be as supportive to her if I still had that corporate job. So that was also serendipitous too.
Feels like everything in life really happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And some of those hard times can really propel you forward.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
We're sitting in your house. Can you guys talk about your styles? Do you have similar styles?
I actually would say so. I think Ali very much in style and we have, again, categories. He very much lets me take the lead, which I appreciate. Although I feel like you do have your things that you love too.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I never, this was the first house I ever lived in.
Right.
Prior
so you guys
to this,
came from a condo before.
Yeah. And then growing up, we had large condos, but I never lived in a house. So I was like a little bit hesitant about this whole house thing because I was like, okay, why don't we get a condo at like the Ritz or the Four Seasons or wherever?
Yeah.
And then now I'm like addicted. I was, before this we were talking. I want to buy a bigger house. I think style wise, you definitely kind of take the lead though.
And you grew up in the UK.
I grew up in the UK where I feel like, at least when I was there, it was very much about classic, timeless, but also unique design. And I'm sure you can relate. We've had conversations. You sometimes see things in the UK or parts you don't see in North America. And even my personal style, I find like, I always like a little bit different things. Once I moved to Canada, about my personal style growing up, and I find that here, like while I like love for other people like super modern design, and that's typically for younger people these days where more people gravitate to. I always love like the old details. I love that this house is 100 years old. And then as well, because we are entrepreneurs and like things are so all over the place, like I feel like we all also too trying to make a conscious effort to make timeless decisions because just from an investment perspective, I think it makes more sense.
We will now take a quick break to mention our sponsors at Homekin. At Homekin, the process of designing your home is simplified by matching you with A-list interior design experts and streamlined services. First, share your inspiration and collaborate with your designer. Then, review and approve your designs and shopping list. From there, you can sit back and watch your vision come to life. Ready to get started? Visit homekin.com today and enjoy an exclusive 15% discount on any products and bundles with the code BEYOND4WALLS at checkout. Homekin, a new way to think about interior design one room at a time. Now, let's get back to the episode.
So, is there commonalities across your businesses, like in terms of maybe how you run them, but like, because Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like they're quite different. So
I think Allie probably can speak more to this. I think all three of them, we very much operate from a customer is first mentality. I think from my business perspective, with Kip, it's the fact that I chose not to have investors. So the decision making I can have around the quality of the product I want to produce and what I want to price it as is entirely in my control, because I feel so strongly that I don't take lightly that the product is an investment for someone, and therefore it should last a very, very, very long time.
The packaging is like impeccable.
Thank you.
Like opening that Kip package is like the detail with the black ribbon. Like it's just such a luxury experience in itself.
Right.
To feel like you're treating yourself as a woman and like really investing in yourself, like you said.
Yeah. Like I wanted someone to feel like how they feel when they buy like a pair of designer shoes. And they keep them in the box for a bit, and then they like really
like the box is too pretty to like get rid of.
Yeah, and
like,
that's what we want.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. And I think you're similar but in a different way.
Yeah, I think like nowadays, for some weird reason, I feel like everyone forgot that like clients need to be wowed, and like whether it's like
it's the human connection.
Yeah, like people lost that. Even like in like high end retail, like everything's a transaction. Like no one cares about relationships anymore, and like we found like with the people that we're dealing with now, that's like trust and those relationships are the only reason they use us. Because really, like we're in a super hyper competitive market. There's 10 people that do what we do within a 20-minute radius of us. So the only way we can differentiate.
And what exactly does Abe do?
So we do surface protection for automobiles.
Yes.
That's our primary business. So clear protection film, it stops stone chips, scratches, etc. We do it for private collectors, and then we do it for the manufacturers or the dealers as well. So we have a contract for like Porsche Canada. We do some work with Ferrari, Lamborghini, etc. So it's interesting because like our clients say that a lot of other businesses keep us in business because they go to other locations and get such bad service, and like even at very high end brands, they don't get the level of service that they get with us. And that's like I think that's the number one thing across all three is like quality. Like, whether it's quality of the relationship, quality of the product. Like we do not want to be in the mass market consumer business. We want to be like super specialized.
And Homekin had the pleasure of working on your office space at ABE.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, you really feel that like I've seen clients go in and out and they just seem to feel very comfortable. Like they're like family to you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys killed it. Like,
but that's part of it, right? Is that we were looking around, and yes, it was quote unquote what we had better than our competition because it was clean. But that's not the experience. Like we wanted to feel as how we felt going into a store on Bloor Street when a client is dropping their car off to Allie, and that's also reflected in the service offering too. Like you touched on one service, but it's really amazing to see how Allie has grown it to build trust, and now we're offering all kinds of services on top of the film, like really cool customizations. And again, it all comes down to the trust and the fact that they want to be in our space and experience our knowledge and our expertise. And even more so this year, like we have such a beautiful foundation with what you designed. We're like how can we do it more with gifting and with events and all of those things, as I'm sure you're familiar with too.
Yeah, you guys are just growing and you're so passionate about what you do. Where do you see the future? Well, you now have a beautiful daughter. Like she just literally her birthday's today.
She's a handful.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
But I'm sure maybe you feel the same way after having kids. It forces you to focus on what matters. And that's not even about the child. Of course, she's like our life. But it's not even that. It's like we have very little patience for things that aren't so serving our goals anymore. And what those goals are. I think we were very revenue based the first few years of each of the business out of necessity. Again, it's all self-funded. It's all started by us, grown by us. But now it's like our people, our culture, our legacy. And I think that's a thing too, once becoming a parent. Like I think about a lot is what do I want to leave my daughter and my future kids? And like I want it to be something they're proud of, yes, I want it to be a big name, but there's more to it than that for sure.
Yeah. And you just ran a marathon. And I was like, you just said so beautifully. I asked, like, because that would be a goal of mine. And thank you for inspiring me. But like, I said, what motivates you when you're like really tired and you're like, I see my daughter's face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is like, wow, how powerful is that? You just think of her and like to make her proud.
Yeah. And I think that's something I've been blessed with over the years is like people like yourself and other women like absolutely killing it in their space. Like it motivates me. So when I look at my daughter, it's like, well, the best thing I can do is be like the best version of myself so she can be surrounded by that and other really, really cool women as well. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I can't believe she's 2.
It feels like yesterday, honestly. Like
it goes by so fast, right?
Like everyone says that, but you don't realize like how fast. Like I looked at a photo of her. I think they had a birthday party for her at the park, and she literally looked like a woman, and not like a baby. Like her like baby cheeks are gone. I was like, oh my god, this is too fast.
But it's fun to see the change in your partner too, because I've seen. I had a feeling it would, but you can't explain like how he changes in a way that like he as any entrepreneur you sometimes oversolve a problem or you're over there where like now he recognizes that and he's like racing home to see her every day.
Oh yeah, it's funny too because clients will be like, oh, but you're like with your daughter, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta go. And I always had this fear of doing that before because I was like, I can't.
Hi guys.
Oh, sorry, our 2 French bulldogs are joining.
So cute.
But yeah, it changes your whole mindset really, and like and it's crazy how most people focus only on the money, but they don't realize that like the money without everything else doesn't make the money as sweet in a way. Like it's and that's why we deal with a huge variety of people, and you kind of get to see like where their home is, where their foundation is, and they have the wealth. That's really where like people are like I inspire to that at least versus just the money.
Yeah, I think it makes you so much more compassionate when you become a parent too. Like we're all just trying to raise good kids. It's probably the hardest job you could have.
For sure.
But it makes coming home at the end of the day so special.
Oh my goodness.
Especially when you work so hard.
Yeah. And everyone was like, oh, don't just wait when you have a kid. And I'm like, I'm not gonna, there's not gonna be some magical thing, but it really is. There's like nothing like it.
Yeah.
And as well, like, I think because we are self-employed, we fell into this trap of needing external things to validate, not external things, but like external goals to validate what we're doing.
Right.
Because they were explicit things to work towards. And it's so funny. We're always more is more is more. Okay, we got to move to the next house or the next thing. Whereas now it's just time. We want time with our family.
Yeah, time is the last luxury. And it's like it becomes so much more apparent when your business is thriving and growing and you're managing a team and then you're a parent. It's like you just want just more time, literally.
Exactly.
But I wish someone told me that like 5 or 10 years ago. Because
I don't think you would have listened to them.
Yeah, you're probably right. Your frame of reference would be totally different. But it's just like no one, like when you're early 20s, mid 20s, even late 20s or early 30s, you just don't like, it doesn't matter. You'll say yes to everything. Yeah. Like everything is a yes, I'll do it, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
And you don't realize what you're sacrificing. And then you have a kid that like, I had like two dinners for the previous nights, and it was like so weird not coming home and seeing Ava run to the door.
Yeah.
It just like changes your whole, and I was like, I miss her already.
Oh.
So like it's so like it's just different feeling. It's crazy.
We ask this question on every episode. So because our brand is all about home, what does home mean to you?
To me, it's like my haven. Like it's my happy place. As you know, working like with me on our home, it's like such a special place to me. And like a place that I love entertaining and is like truly representative of ourselves. So whether it's like for my daughter and like making like Valentine's Day special or having family over for a Sunday dinner, it's just like that haven or that feeling of like bliss in one space. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's just like I don't know if stability is the right word, but it's stability because like when I leave the house, like my day can go any type of way, right? Like we can have a client in
putting out fires,
literally London, Ontario, be like, I need something.
Yeah.
We have to get it done. So like, it's just like calm. It's like, it's like a spa.
Yeah.
Like time slows down.
Yeah.
Like even the other day we were saying that like we wanted to just, Natalie asked me, what do you want to do for Father's Day? And I'm like, I don't want to go to a restaurant. I just want to like
chill,
be at home, have a cigar, barbecue. Cause like that is so much happiness to me that, and like, that's why I think like after this house and obviously what you guys did to it, like the next one, I'd love to have a little bit larger so you could have more of
just after we said we don't want anything else, we just want time. You want a bigger house.
It's funny though, we go back and forth because on Monday we'll be like, we need a much larger house, and then on Tuesday we're like, we don't need any more things. So but we keep each other in check. But yeah, the home is everything.
Do you have a favorite room of the house?
Ooh, the bedroom for sure. I would say
not the third floor.
The third floor is great.
That's like your zone, right?
Yeah.
So the third floor, for obviously the listener's perspective, it's like a theater room with like a surround sound, and it's really fun. But if I had to pick one room as my absolute favorite, probably the bedroom. When we did like this like Missoni like wallpaper, like it's just so chill and so calm.
Yeah, it's nice calming colors. Yeah. I love like the kitchen living area, because I find in houses this old, you don't typically see an openness to the living dining, and for hosting, I find that so nice. Yeah.
True, you one up me on that one.
Working with clients and like us having natural stone on every surface of our house, like people are generally hesitant to source natural stone for their homes because they're so worried about the durability and like, the acidity. If you're like, I drink a lot of lemon juice, so that's always, and tomato sauce. So we love ProShield because it basically protects our countertops and we can still enjoy the look of a natural stone, which is so much more beautiful than fake stuff.
Yeah. That was one of the reasons why we created it, because we noticed like everything that was competing or in place already was kind of looked synthetic. It looked kind of like a piece of something on top of the natural stone. So the product is a totally different composition. It's less like a security film or a screen protector. It's more a soft polyurethane. And once, obviously having Ava and having our daughter, and we wanted everything to be not just healthy, but we also cared about what our house looked like. And our product totally naturally molds to the inconsistencies of natural stone. So if you have any veining, etc., it reflects that in the top end of the product. And to me, like, it was something that I was passionate about because we already been in the industry, but it was also that I saw a huge opportunity for people to start using natural stone in their home again without worry. Right.
And like from my experience being married to someone in the industry that he is in, like he is incredibly OCD. So I remember a time it completely saved me because I got into juicing in COVID, as I feel like everyone got into everything.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I just decided to add turmeric to a smoothie.
Oh yeah, that's not.
And we have Calcutta marble, thank God, protected. But I was like, I looked down and I'm like, oh my gosh, because the film is there. You can use a bleach spray, and it's gone.
It's amazing. Yeah, we had the owners of Stone Towel earlier on our podcast, and they were talking about which I think is so lovely, seeing a resurgence towards people now gravitating again towards natural stone. So I think it's because people want the romanticism in their houses again. They want it to feel real, really. Yeah. So it's such a great product. We absolutely love it. And can you go from polished to honed with this product? Like if somebody has a polished countertop, because I think in my mom's house you did that because she had a polished Calcutta countertop and backsplash, and she was like, I think I want honed now. Yeah,
you just leave it the way. You don't have to do anything. You just put the honed film on the polished stone. And then immediately it's honed, and it's not honed in the traditional sense that it honed kind of has a little bit of a chalkiness to it. this kind of cuts all that chalkiness. So it's still a matte finish, but it just has like a little silky reflection that's really, really nice.
Yeah.
And honestly, like all our clients love it because they kind of understand the connection between their cars and their home and protect. And now, like for us at least, cars are becoming an extension of your home, right? The surface materials that you're seeing in some cars are very similar to things you see in your home, right?
Yeah.
Alcantara, wood,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how clients have become natural. Now they move or
Yeah.
they buy a new car.
Yeah.
They call us to protect it regardless of which one it is. And that was kind of our goal from the very beginning.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So great.
Been a fun adventure.
Yeah. Okay, so the 3 businesses, we got ABE, Kip, ProShield. Where can our audience find you? You're on Instagram,
Yes.
your website.
We're on all of the things.
Yeah.
For Kip, it's Kip_Sleepwear. The website is sleepandkip.com. If you Google Kip, I'm sure you'll see us either on our own site or with our retail partners, Hudson's Bay, Saks Fifth Avenue, amongst others.
And then ABE is ABE_Automotive. And then we're ABEAutomotive.com.
And ProShield is ProShieldProtect.com. And we're on Instagram. We're on Instagram as ProShield Global.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
This was
It was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.